Hello, my name is John Gore, and today I will be conducting a brief professional development session that will show teachers how they can help students use media literacy strategies to recognize misinformation. Middle schoolers are starting to use the internet independently at home and in the classroom, and misinformation is becoming more and more rampant. It impacts all content areas, so today's goal is to give you some practical tools that you can use right away in your classroom. Let's start with a quick activity. Take a look at these two social media posts. With no other context, ask yourself, which one do you think students would believe? Make a quick choice. Once you decide, think about why. What makes one seem more believable than the other? Our students face this challenge every single day. They're constantly exposed to information, but they don't have the tools to evaluate it. Misinformation not only compromises the internet, but it also compromises learning. Students constantly have to make decisions, form opinions, and often complete assignments based on information they may not fully understand or question. Because of this, media literacy is essential. It helps students become critical thinkers and not just passive consumers of information. By the end of the session, you will be able to apply two media literacy strategies: lateral reading and source evaluation. And you'll begin designing a simple activity that you can use to help your students identify misinformation. We will begin with the first strategy: lateral reading. Simply stated, lateral reading means that instead of staying on one website, students open new tabs to check other sources. So instead of asking, "Does the site look good?" we are teaching students to ask, "What other sources have to say? What do other sources have to say about this?" This is actually one of the most effective strategies used by professionals, and is something our students can easily master. The second strategy is evaluating the source itself. You can use familiar methods such as the CRAAP test, looking at credibility, accuracy, and purpose. We want students to ask questions like: who created this? Why was it created? Is there evidence to support it? These simple questions can make a huge difference in how students process information. Now, if we look back at one of those posts from the beginning, we can decide its veracity together by first checking the source, then opening another tab to see what other sources say, and then we can compare the two. Lastly, decide if the information is reliable. This simple step by step thinking is exactly what we want students to start practicing on a regular basis. Now, imagine working with a partner or a small group. Again, you would analyze a post or article using these strategies: check the source, use lateral reading, decide if it's credible. Next, discuss how could you use something like this in your classroom. When you immediately connect the lesson to your own content is when it truly sticks. Learning strategies to recognize online information meets both state and national standards. In North Carolina, we are addressing standards that focus on analyzing and evaluating information for credibility and bias. Nationally, this lesson connects to American Association of School Librarians standards, specifically the Inquirer domain, which emphasizes critical thinking and problem solving. As such, this lesson not only imparts practical information, but also aligns with state and national teaching expectations. So, for our exit ticket, ask yourself, what is one strategy you will use and how will you apply it to your classroom? This will facilitate quick insight into whether you feel confident applying what you've learned. I would love the opportunity to continue and expand this discussion with you. I can provide a resource toolkit with ready to use materials such as fact checking sites and lesson templates, or better yet, we can collaborate or co teach a lesson together. Either way or both, you will have the support you need to implement these strategies and more. In conclusion, let's revisit our original question: would your students still believe those posts? What, if anything, changed in your thinking? Hopefully, after today, the obvious one that is wrong would elicit a no answer. Now we are on the path to giving the students the tools to pause, question, and think critically. And while these methods may seem simple at the start, these small shifts in approaching information can have a big impact on how students engage with information every day. Thank you so much for your time today.